Welcome to Counseled Wonderfully, the podcast where we are the clients, God is the therapist. I'm your host, Justine Felix. Join me for session. So, I am extremely tired. I am learning to name in real time what I'm feeling, how I am experiencing it, and how it's impacting my everyday movements, behaviors. Recently, I had a client where I had a set agenda. We were going to lay out the goals for therapy. We were going to create some SMART goals for her to take home, some coping skills to use. I had the agenda planned out. I was ready. I was excited, got into session, and the start of every session, I typically do a check-in. This could be a question, it could be a how are you, it could be tell me about your week, but a way to set the tone for the session. With this particular client, I checked in and I said, how was your week? This client proceeded to share that she had a difficult week. They were drained, exhausted, and told me, I have no words to describe how I'm feeling right now. So that threw my agenda, my plan, what I wanted to see happen out the window. And I had a choice to make. I had a choice to decide what was the most effective intervention for her in that moment. How could I best support? How could I best show up? And it was very clear that in that moment, all they needed was my presence. Not my advice, not education, not a coping skill, not validation, my physical presence. The past few weeks in my life, I've been so physically busy. I've been so on the go. And 2 days ago, I realized how physically tired I was, how drained mentally, how exhausted I was. And in the midst of me wanting to plan for the next, set some SMART goals for myself for the next step, today, God said, be still. I said, how? I got stuff to do. I have things to work on. I have work to get to. This movement, I knew I had to move. God, how are you gonna tell me to be still when I got all these things that I need to do? God said, be still. I said, okay, I can do that. I can sit in my thoughts. I can chill for a little bit. I can do that, right, God? God again said, be still. And I realized I need to not relearn, because I don't think I've ever learned it, honestly. I need to learn right now what it means to be still with God, intentionally still with God. And this doesn't mean sitting on the couch for 5 hours straight, watching my favorite show right now, Scandal. Rewatching, I should say, my favorite show, Scandal. But my producer's laughing because she's also my roommate, and she physically witnesses me watch my favorite show, Scandal. That's not being still, which I understand now. But being still is, for me, in this moment, being still is acknowledging that I'm tired, acknowledging why I'm tired, practicing gratitude for the way things have been moving, practicing gratitude because of the blessings I've seen and I'm physically a part of right now. And not rushing or thinking I have to rush to the next thing. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen, and I will be exalted in the earth." So in that verse, the definition, the Strong's definition of stillness is to relax, is to let drop, is to abandon, is to let go, to refrain, to be quiet. Stillness is not a lack of movement. Stillness with God, I should say, is not a lack of movement. It's a lack of unintentional movement. It's not doing busy work. It's not doing the certain tasks that you feel like, okay, like I gotta get. It's taking a second, acknowledging, letting go of your own expectations, letting go of your own desires, letting go of your plan, sitting with God so that you can be clear about what is the next step. And sometimes the next step is just to worship God. Physically stopping myself from doing busy work or what I think is a helpful task was actually me wasting energy, wasting time, wasting mental capacity because I wasn't taking the time to be still. Taking the time to take a second and acknowledge the rest that God has given me. Acknowledge the peace. And we're back to this thing. Acknowledge who God has called me to be, or sees me as in this season. Our golden thread for me, as you all are witnessing in this moment, our golden thread is how my presenting problem continues to show up, continues to manifest itself in different symptoms, in different behaviors, in different thought patterns. Because I am learning truly how God sees me, I also need to learn, again, what it means to sit down and take a second, intentionally. So this week, I was wrapping up one of my final papers. And this is a very, very important paper in my doctoral career. It is the outline, the proposal of my doctoral project. This project means a lot to me. This project is directly from God, and it was due at 11:59. So I was off to already a great start, and I shut myself in. Because I had such a big task to complete, a big agenda point on my plan, I shut myself in. I physically did not want to talk to anybody. I mentally could not engage with other people. I put my phone on do not disturb. And if you know me, that's very rare. Like, I don't use do not disturb at all. But this moment, nothing could disturb me because it had to be done. At first I started just writing, and like it was quiet at first, and I wasn't playing anything, and I just felt so much pressure to complete, so much pressure that I was putting on myself. And in the midst of that, there were multiple things that God had reminded me that I very much needed to hear from my Father. Was one, I was created for this moment. Hearing that, and when I say hearing, I don't necessarily mean audible voice. I mean, the Holy Spirit reminded me that I was created for this. I was also reminded of a prophecy that my man of God released on me, that my success, God will honor my success. God will honor my commitment. And that brought me to a space of, okay, I need to worship as I'm writing this. So here's the image. I'm going to put out the image, paint the picture for y'all of what was going on in my room. I had a piano instrumental worship loop on. It was the 3-hour one because I had 3 hours to complete this, to turn it in, right? So I said 3 hours, I'm about to lock in. So it was the 3-hour loop, right? The one with the lion's face, the one that with the swell of fire, right? That was where I was at, because I said, I am a conqueror. I am a lion of Judah. And this is what I need now. So that was happening. I was comfortable. I had just showered. I had put on my robe. It was very, cozy. Had my slippers on, and I was going to work. So in this room, I'm sitting at my desk. I'm singing. I'm worshiping. I'm writing. And 3 hours turned into 5 hours later. Turned in my paper. And immediately when I turned in my paper, I felt every emotion, every thought, every feeling that I was holding on to the past 3 weeks hit me all at once. I couldn't sleep after. I couldn't even speak. I was on my bed. I think it was about like 5 o'clock in the morning at that time. And now that I'm sitting here, I realize that God was reminding me in that moment to be still. And He would hold me in everything that I felt. So it was a crazy time. And that was another reminder that in the midst of my blessing, which is being able to be in a doctor program, pass, still be in it, because remember last time I said I was going to quit, right? Is being grateful that I'm in it and enjoying that piece. And so there's a stillness that God is calling me to right now in my season, so that I am able to be clear about what God wants me to do next. Be clear about how he's already been moving in my life. And have him plan my goals by revealing to me what the next step is. In my state of I gotta do, I gotta move, I gotta do, right? I mentally have a list that I'm always working through. Like I'll wake up and I have a list. When I am on this list and I'm in this mode of I gotta move, I gotta do, I am rarely sitting down, interacting with people. I am rarely taking into account everyday moments, everyday peaceful moments that God has been sending my way. I don't sit, like I'm still moving. And the reason why I don't sit when I am going through this list of tasks I need to, or I feel like I need to complete, is once I sit and I allow myself the room to reflect and breathe, I get overwhelmed quickly with how I'm feeling. And so to avoid that space, I continue on to the next thing. People will ask me, how are you doing? I'm good, I'm fine, and on to the next thing. People will say, like, I haven't seen you. Yep, I know, on to the next thing. And so it is my form of defense mechanism that I use because I know the emotions and the thoughts that I'm holding in at that moment are going to, I think they are going to hinder me from continuing to do what I think I need to do. So I create an agenda in my mind that I need to follow. And if I have a meaningful check-in or a check-in that requires me to actually share like how I'm feeling, I feel like once I'm in that moment, I cannot continue, which is a lie of the enemy. And the enemy is inside of me when that moment's happened. But it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a thought that is a lie because it's very unhealthy. And what I've learned and I'm learning it does is I'm not utilizing the supports in my community, the supports that God has sent for me in those moments. Something that I ask my clients when we are talking about the way they understand their symptoms or their concerns and what brings them to therapy is we talk about how can you describe the type of support you need to the people around you, whether it's because I work with a lot of adolescents, whether it's their parents, their friends, their, sports teams, their circle of community. How can you describe the type of help you need? And so we go through a process of providing them with the language to not only share what they're experiencing, but share how they can invite other people to support them. I need to also reflect with God on what type of support I need when I'm in those moments of what feels like mental chaos. I am not one to ask or initiate, hey, I need help, or hey, I'm struggling. When someone makes me dinner and I didn't even ask, that is something that carries me through my mental chaos. When I get text messages of, hey, like I'm thinking of you, that carries me. My need in that moment is not necessarily how are you feeling or how are you doing questions. It's I'm going to sit here with you. Physical presence. I'm going to buy you something because I thought about you. I am going to give you space. You let me know if you need me. So those things are something that I've learned help me in the moments of me physically feeling or mentally feeling like I have so much to do and I have so much on my mind. I am even grateful for my worship team because some of my leaders on the team have stepped up, and it's because I had voiced, hey, these next 2 weeks are really difficult for me. I might not be able to say in the moment what I need, but here up front is some things you can help, some ways you can help. And I've seen people show up for me in the past few weeks in a way that I was not expecting. But I'm very grateful and appreciative for. And so, as you are also reflecting on the moments that you feel chaos in your mind, or you are so busy with certain tasks and you haven't given yourself the space to be still, I would strongly encourage you to ask God to reveal to you the supports that you have around you. The question I'm leaving you all with, after hearing my mental chaos of my life the past few weeks, is why is God calling you to be still? And are you responding to that stillness? The drink of this episode is a turmeric tea. It is a little bitter. It is one of my favorite spices, but it's really good. So turmeric tea for today's episode. Get yours today. I'm not a sponsor yet. The worship song of this episode is Who Is Like You. I pray it blesses you the way it prepared me to sit and be appreciative of the stillness of God. Thank you for joining us for today's session. If you are listening to us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and hit that notification bell. If you're listening to us on any podcast platform, be sure to follow us and leave a rating. We'll see you in the next session. Sing that.
Exactly, as you should.
Where are you at, Judy? Sometimes I have to be still so I know where I'm at. Because a lot of times I don't know where I'm at. Yeah. You know why? It's because I'm always so concerned and putting others or where other people are at in front of mine. So it's like I conditioned myself to
not ask yourself.
Not check in with myself. Check-ins with myself are actually something that I've been growing to do it a lot more often and in a lot of different ways, but it has been a challenge of mine for sure. That's why I journal a lot. I journal a lot because it's like forces me to sit down and check in about like what is going on in your mind in a way that doesn't feel intrusive, which is interesting. When someone asks me like, let me know how I can help or how can I help, that question is for me, so loaded at times that in order for me to tell you how I need help, I need to think and sit about what am I going through? What am I experiencing? What is my problem? is my problem something that I can handle on myself, or do I need help? Okay, once I get my problem, what type of help do I need? So like that process alone is sometimes, I think it can overwhelm me or require a certain amount of thinking capacity that's not my nature. Because it's not my nature to do that, my initial response is pray for me or I'll let you know, or I'm unsure. So it's not that I don't need help, but it's in the moment. I don't know if I have the capacity to do that process to get to, you can help me X, Y, and Z. But it is something that I am actively learning.
Yeah.
For sure.